Hello children, welcome back to chemistry class and let's continue the lesson. Dear children, we have discussed this experiment in the previous class. So here in this experiment, the aqueous solution of an acid conducts electricity due to the presence of charged particles called ions in it. So this is aqueous solution children, the aqueous solution of HCl which is dissolved in water is conducting electricity by showing it as its bulb glows here. So in the case of glucose solution, due to the absence of ions, glucose solution and alcohol solution do not conduct electricity because though they contain hydrogen, the formula of it is C6H12O6, though it contains hydrogen, they won't split into ions. So due to the absence of ions, it does not conduct electricity and the bulb doesn't glow. This is a thing we have seen in our previous class. Okay children. So what actually we are doing here children, we are dissolving this HCl, that is acid or a base, in water, acid or base in water, in order to conduct electricity. So dear children, in both the activities we have seen that they are dissolved in water. So what actually the role of water here children? So why we are adding acids or bases in water or dissolving in water in order to conduct electricity? What exactly is the role of water here? And what will happen if we do not dissolve acid or a base in water? I mean that if we take in a dry state, suppose if we have taken in an anhydrous state, anhydrous or dry is same. So if you take in a dry state, what happens? Or if we dissolve it in any other solvent other than water, what happens? Let us figure out another experiment to clear this doubt. Okay children, for this experiment we have to take sodium chloride, nearly 1 gram of sodium chloride, that is a common salt children, and a dry test tube, boiling dry test tube we have to take, and we have to add this NaCl here, and slowly we have to add this concentrated sulfuric acid inside the test tube. We have to add concentrated sulfuric acid to NaCl. So as soon as you put concentrated H2SO4, you have to fit one rubber cork here. So to this rubber cork, a delivery tube is arranged so that the gas will evolve out through this mouth of the delivery tube. Understood children? So we have taken NaCl, to that we have added concentrated sulfuric acid, and immediately we have kept one rubber cork here, to that a delivery tube is arranged. This is the arrangement children. So as soon as these two are reacting each other, this NaCl and concentrated H2SO4, a gas is evolved out. A gas is evolved out. What is that gas? That is only hydrogen chloride gas, that is HCl gas. So it is evolving out. So in this equation children, sodium chloride, that is common salt as I told you, is reacting with sulfuric acid, that is concentrated sulfuric acid, gives rise to hydrochloric acid plus sodium sulfate. This is not aqueous children, it is a gas form, it releases out. So sodium chloride when reacts with sulfuric acid, it gives hydrogen chloride gas plus sodium sulfate. This is happening here children in this experiment. So this is shown through the equation here. In this activity, a test tube is taken over here and slowly sodium chloride is added to it. And immediately you add some concentrated sulfuric acid taken in a conical flask. You have to pour very carefully inside it. As soon as you add sulfuric acid, you have to put your delivery tube here. As soon as you add both of them, a gas is released out and you have to bring one dry litmus paper. So as soon as you bring a dry litmus paper, it is not showing its change of color children. Here blue litmus is not changing into red litmus. So now if you bring a wet litmus paper, it is showing its color change. The blue litmus is changing into red litmus. So from this experiment you can easily say that children, the dry HCl, when here HCl is only coming now, so this HCl when it's dry state, it is not showing its acidic properties. How do you know that it is not showing its acidic properties? Because the blue litmus paper is not changing into red litmus when you kept dry one. So immediately after you put a wet litmus, means that litmus paper, wet litmus paper contains some water inside it. So that water reacts with this gas, HCl gas, and it splits into H plus and Cl minus ions, and thus it shows its acidic properties. So from this experiment we can say that HCl is showing its acidic properties in the presence of water. in the presence of water H2O. So if it is dry HCl, it is not showing its acidic properties. From this experiment we can prove that the dry HCl means dry litmus paper is not changing its color. It is not changing blue litmus to red, but whereas wet litmus paper is showing its change. That is, blue wet litmus paper is changing into red litmus because water droplets are present in wet paper, though it reacts with the HCl and it shows its acidic properties. So as I told you children, what is the role of water here? Now you might have understood. So all acids or bases, they show their properties in the presence of water only, in the presence of water. So in the absence of water, they won't show their acidic properties, and their acidic nature is not shown in the dry state. So when they are dissolved in water, they react with the water molecules and they show the acidic properties. Let us see through the equation. So in this equation children, dry HCl gas does not contain any hydrogen ions. So when HCl is dissolved in water, as soon as it is dissolved in water, it splits into H plus ions and Cl minus ions. And due to these ions only, it is showing its acidic properties. But when it is dry state, it does not contain any ions and it won't show its acidic property. Understood children? So actually this hydrogen chloride gas, when dissolved in water, it splits up into H3O plus ion and Cl minus ion. How is it happening children? Like HCl, immediately after you drop in water, this HCl splits into H plus and this H plus reacts with H2O of molecule, means water molecule, and it forms hydronium ion. Previously I told you children, it forms hydronium ion. So this hydronium ion and the Cl minus ion, due to these ions, they show their acidic properties and it conducts electricity also. Understood children? So this wet litmus paper contains some water molecules and thus they split into ions. Whereas in the dry state, they cannot split because of the absence of water. Understood children? But a small precaution we have to take here children, while we work with concentrated acids, we should not hold like this with bare hands children. Actually this is a wrong process. We have to use one test tube holder. One test tube holder should be used here and we have to hold the test tube with the holder. So that this concentrated H2SO4s are very dangerous children. The concentrated acids or bases are very dangerous and if they fall on our hands they may burn. So we have to use one test tube holder to hold while doing the experiment. And when the weather is very moist, while you are doing this experiment in this humid condition, then you have to use this guard tube children. This guard tube contains calcium chloride, CaCl2 it is contained, and this absorbs water. Actually children, when the condition is very humid, the atmosphere contains some water droplets. Like what is humidity? The presence of water in the atmosphere. The amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. So while you do this experiment and when the weather is humid, then if you bring a dry litmus also becomes wet due to the exposure of atmosphere. So atmosphere contains some water droplets during humid day and it becomes wet. So the experiment becomes wrong. We cannot perform it accurately and we cannot get the result accurately. So while doing this experiment in humid conditions, you have to use this guard tube, and this guard tube is arranged over here near the delivery tube. So while you arrange this near the delivery tube, this calcium chloride absorbs all the moisture and it will give you a correct, accurate result to us. Understood? Okay. So finally, let us see the result. So the acidic behavior of acids are due to presence of hydrogen ions, and the acids produce hydrogen ions only in the presence of water. In the absence of water, a substance will not form hydrogen ions and it will not show its acidic character. So through example we have seen dry hydrogen chloride gas does not show acidic behavior, but when water is present, its acidic behavior is observed. Okay children, till now we have seen what happens when acid is dissolved in water. Now we will see what happens to base when it is dropped in water, when it is dissolved in water. So what happens children? Actually I told you what is common in bases. I told you OH minus ion is common in bases. All OH minus ions are common in bases. So as soon as you dissolve in water, let us say sodium hydroxide is a base. When dissolved in water, it splits into Na plus ions and OH minus ions. Okay. In the same manner, when potassium hydroxide dissolved in water, it gives potassium ions and OH minus ions. Magnesium hydroxide, when dissolved in water, it gives magnesium ions and OH minus ions. So these OH minus ions are common in bases, and when they dissolve in water, they give these ions, and due to these ions only, OH minus ions, it shows its basic character. Okay, so what is actually happening, children? When bases are dissolved in water, when they are soluble in water, then those are known as, and those substances are called as alkalis. Alkaline in nature, we say alkaline in nature means basic in nature. Okay, listen clearly, children. Bases which are soluble in water are called alkalis. But one statement you have to remember, children: all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis, because all bases are not soluble in water. Understood my point, children? All bases are not soluble in water. So all bases are not alkalis, but all alkalis are bases. So what are alkalis? The bases which are soluble in water are called alkalis. So sodium hydroxide is an alkali, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. So few bases are soluble in water and few bases are not soluble in water, children. Understood? And let us begin the classification of acids and bases based on concentration. In chemistry, concentration of a solution means the amount of solute that is present or dissolved in given amount of solvent. The more is the amount of solute, the more concentrated a solution is. And if the amount of solute is less, the solution is said to be dilute solution. Let me explain you with a simple example, children. You must have come across a bottle of orange squash or lemonade in your refrigerators or kitchen shelves. Now, do you drink that squash or lemonade, the thick syrup-like material, directly? The answer is no, because you say it is so thick, sticky and extremely sweet. So you'll mix it with water or dilute it by pouring a small quantity of squash in a glass and pour water to it. So you diluted the concentrated solution. Diagrammatically, let us take two beakers and add 100 ml of water in both. In first, we add 20 ml of squash and stir it, and second, we add 60 ml of squash and stir it. The first solution is an example of dilute solution, whereas the second one is a concentrated solution. Now, dilute and concentrated are relative terms, that is comparable terms. And what does it mean? Suppose I take another beaker with 100 ml of water and add 40 ml of orange squash to it and stir it. Let me label the first one as beaker number 1, this one is second, and this one is third. Can I say the solution in beaker number 2 is concentrated with respect to 1, whereas with respect to third it is a dilute solution? Thus the meaning relative comes here. Now children, coming to concentrated and dilute acids, here your acid is solute whereas the water is a solvent. We say a given solution of acid is concentrated when the amount of acid dissolved is relatively large, and as compared to the quantity of water, whereas where the amount of solute is small, we say it as a dilute acid. So in a chemical equation, we represent a concentrated with abbreviation CONC written in the right hand side of the chemical formula of the acid, whereas in case of dilute acids we use an abbreviation dilute, DIL, and on the right hand side we write it as dilute, DIL in the brackets, like HCl dilute acid and H2SO4 dilute acid, and in case of concentrated, HCl concentrated and H2SO4 concentrated. Now let us compare strength and concentration. Students, please note that strength and concentration, though used interchangeably by many, are two different terms, and these are not same. As far as acids and bases are concerned, strength shows the degree of ionization in water, whereas concentration is the amount of acid or base dissolved in water. So for instance, based on strength, I'll say acetic acid is a weak acid. Let us take acetic acid CH3COOH, which is a weak acid. Why? Because it dissociates into molecules, disassociates its molecules partially into hydronium ions and acetate ions. Yet it can be concentrated as well as dilute. For example, let us see, we have two solutions of acetic acid. One is A and the other one is B. One of these is 12 molars, say 12 molars, and the other is 5 molars. And what is this molar? Molar is the unit to calculate concentration of the acid or base. So molar is nothing but moles per liter. It is basically a unit to express concentration. Now the first one is a concentrated solution of acetic acid as compared to the second one, which is 5 molar, is a dilute solution. But both are weak acids. They will not completely dissociate into corresponding ions when dissolved in water. Similarly, if we take HCl, can I say it is a strong acid, children? Because it dissociates completely in water. But if you have two solutions of HCl, like one is 2 molar and the other one is 1 molar, we say 2 molar is a concentrated solution, whereas 1 molar is a dilute acid. Because HCl is a strong acid, but it may be concentrated as well as dilute. But remember children, HCl is highly corrosive, and if it is concentrated, it is highly more dangerous. So normally in labs we keep it as dilute solution. So now how the dilution is done? It is very important to understand the dilution process. But before that, let's quickly go through the topic, the classification of bases based on concentration. Based on the amount of base that is going to be added in a solvent, that is going to be a water, we have concentrated bases and dilute bases. If the amount of base is more as compared to the solvent, we get concentrated bases, and if it is less, we get dilute bases. If you look at the representation, concentrated bases are shown with abbreviation CONC, as in the case of acids also, same like that, whereas dilute with the abbreviation DIL for dilute bases. Dear learners, you would have noticed that we have taken water as a solvent in case of both acids and bases. This is because an acid or base will show the respective nature, that is acidic or basic nature, only in the presence of water. Just as I have explained for acids, your weak bases too can be concentrated or dilute. Similarly, your strong bases can also be concentrated or dilute. Let us move on to the dilution process. Suppose you have to mix acid and water, and I ask you a simple question. Will you add acid to water or water to acid? Now you might use or recall your experience in everyday life, say preparation of lemonade or orange squash, and might answer, it doesn't matter. But most of us add squash and then dilute it with water. Some of us, we take water and add squash to it and stir the solution with the spoon. In both cases, squash is prepared. The only difference being the first gives us a little better idea about the quantity of squash and hence its sweetness. But my dear children, this is not true in case of dilution process. You must always add acid to water and not vice versa. I repeat this. This is the correct procedure of dilution, whereas This one is incorrect procedure. Before we understand why so, let me tell you a simple mnemonic to remember this dilution process. That means we are going to add acid to water. The simple mnemonic is A, alphabet A comes first and later W. Like acid, A for acid and W for water. So A comes first, then W. So acid to water. Why I am saying you this, children? Because many children have doubt on it and they confuse while writing the answer. So always acid is added to water, that is A to W. And it is easy to remember for you now. So A comes before W. Let us now understand the dilution process. The dilution process, which is mixing acid and water, is highly exothermic. That is, lot of heat energy is released when the two acid and water are mixed. This heat might cause accident during dilution process. Let us see how. Suppose you take a beaker containing acid in it. Now, in order to dilute this acid, you add water to it with the help of dropper. You could see that a lot of heat fumes are released out at a moment, and when the moment it touches the acid, the heat evolved is so high that it starts splashing of acid droplets. These droplets may cause burnings and break the glass container, leading to an accident. My dear children, never ever try this, not even for fun. Whereas when acid is slowly added to water, if heat released out, it is absorbed by water, as it is a good absorber of heat, and thus splashing of liquid is avoided. So, this dilution process must be carried with caution and patience. In the process, we are supposed to add acid slowly to water with constant stirring. If in case the beaker gets heated up, wait for some time and continue the process. Dear students, as I explained you before, acids have a corrosive nature. Like the mineral acids cause severe burns on the skin and attack and eat up materials. All the three common mineral acids like sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid and nitric acid are very corrosive in their concentrated form. We should be very careful while using these acids in the laboratory. Acids are never stored in metal containers because they gradually corrode and eat up the metal container. Acids are stored in containers made of glass and ceramics because they are not attacked by acids. In addition to concentrated mineral acids, the strong bases or alkalis such as sodium hydroxide are also very corrosive and attack and destroy our skin. In order to warn people about the dangerous corrosive nature of mineral acids and strong bases, a hazard warning sign is usually printed on their containers. Such a hazard warning sign is shown in the picture here. You can see, children. We can see such hazard warning signs on the cans of concentrated sulfuric acid and bottles of sodium hydroxide, pellets, etc. The hazard warning sign shows that these chemicals attack living tissues like skin and wood, etc. The hazard warning sign tells the people to be careful and protect themselves from these dangerous chemicals. So while carrying out dilution process, as I told you before, care must be taken while mixing concentrated acids with water. So always the acid must be added slowly to water with constant stirring. So dear students, let us now define what is dilution. So mixing an acid or base with water result in decrease in the concentration of ions like hydronium ions and hydroxide ions per unit volume. Such a process is called dilution, and the acid or the base is said to be diluted. Dear learners, now we have learned classification based on concentration in this session about concentrated acids and dilute acids, concentrated bases and dilute bases. And we also discussed about dilution process. First thing we learned is acids produce ions only in aqueous solution. Hope you all understood, children. Thank you and have a nice day.